Welcome to this special episode of Frequency Matters, the RF and Microwave Update series. I'm Pat Hindle, and today I'm talking with Alan Maloney, Managing Director at Analog Devices. Welcome, Alan.
Thanks for having me, Pat.
Since we're at the midpoint of 5G deployments, thought it'd be great to check in and see how deployments are going and, kind of look forward to the second half of 5G. What's the status of the 5G rollout here? And, where are we going to go next in the next few years? What's it looking like?
Yeah, like you say, this is a great time to look back at where we are. So we're pretty much at the halftime point. 5G is, I think, in aggregate about 50% rolled out on a global basis. We're also just back from our recent trip to Mobile World Congress, where you and I were both in attendance, the big annual show. So I think looking back in the first half, I think the first 3 to 4 years of 5G rollouts were initially very strong as all the operators were racing to enable 5G for their subscriber base. I think the last couple of years has been a little muted, so we're at a little bit of a pause. But I think looking into 26 and beyond, a lot of people are getting quite excited about the next phase, about the second half. I think in terms of key kind of themes, the things that are going to matter for the second half of 5G, I think one is 5G standalone. So I think in this round we're going to see more operators moving to fully standalone capable networks. So unlocking really the full potential of what those networks were been promised to do. Open RAN and openness in general, we've talked a lot about that, and I think for operators, that ability to kind of mix and match equipment from different suppliers, from different vendors, is super valuable. They want to keep that innovation pipeline strong. They want to have that ability to select and mix equipment up. So I think Open RAN is, it's a complicated initiative. It's taken a little while to get momentum, but I think that momentum is gaining steam, and I think we're seeing a lot of promise, a lot of commitments from the operators to really make openness very fundamental to the next phase of our rollouts. And then energy, right? Energy has always been a big deal and will continue to be. I think operators are always looking for ways to reduce energy in the RAN. That's where a lot of the energy is consumed, maybe about 70% in the radio part of the network. So I think in summary, yeah, I think that the second half is coming. I think this 5G standalone, I think the Open RAN, and I think the focus and innovation around energy consumption are going to be three of the key themes for the second phase of 5G.
So you mentioned the rolling out of 5G standalone. Why is that so important and, what is that going to change?
Yeah, no, it's a good question. So for the first phase of 5G, I think the focus was really on getting 5G enabled for the subscribers, so from the tower to the device. The quickest, most cost-effective way to do that was to roll out 5G kind of on the radio side, but do that on top of the existing, like the legacy 4G or LTE kind of core that existed. So I got there quickly, but the kind of downside to that is a lot of the differentiated capabilities and features of 5G were not really available yet when the core hadn't been upgraded. So some of those features, I think a few good examples. This network slicing is a capability talked about a lot. So that ability for operators and service providers to deliver like different levels of service for different users right on demand at different points in time. So that's a really, really powerful feature. This ability to do like ultra reliable but ultra low latency connectivity. So a lot of applications will need that latency in these time sensitive networks. That's a capability that's going to be unleashed. And then this ability to connect a massive number of lower bandwidth devices at sort of very large scale. That's another kind of dimension. So there are a few examples of the kind of features, and I think there are going to be applications in industrial 5G and private 5G. I think this concept of like autonomous robots, like cobots working in proximity of people in manufacturing and warehousing. I think more flexible factories. I think real-time equipment monitoring for predictive maintenance, for improved energy usage on the factory floor, real-time environmental infrastructure sensing for things like smart cities. So there's a lot of applications there that I think are looking forward to this 5G kind of full standalone being rolled out, so they can take advantage of those capabilities and those features.
And you also mentioned Open RAN. What is your expectation for Open RAN over the next few years? I feel like everybody got really excited in the beginning, and then there was kind of lull, but I feel like it's coming back again.
Yeah. It's like one of those things. People get excited initially, and it can have a greater impact, or it could just take a little longer than people sometimes hope and expect. So we're still super bullish. We've been bullish from the beginning on this. We really see the advantages from it. We've been part of the the ORAN Alliance from pretty much day one, and we still regularly contribute to a lot of the relevant working groups for us as part of the alliance. We've also been engaging a lot more, I think, in recent years directly with the mobile operators through part of this as well, and that's been really valuable for us. We kind of understand, I think, the challenges and the opportunities and the pain points and where we can add value and a little bit better when we talk to the operators directly. So that's been a really important part of the that ecosystem and that engagement. I think the good news is the last 12 months, I think we're seeing a lot of positive signs and direct messages from a lot of the operators that a lot of the new rollouts being targeted from 26 and beyond in a lot of the key regions are going to embrace openness and ORAN as like a fundamental part of that. So I think it's maturing. I think it's going to become quite a dominant part of the architecture for these networks in future. And to kind of maybe zone in on one crucial area, we're putting a lot of energy emphasis onto macro base stations, macro radios, and small cells right now. A couple of reasons. I think the specs are very mature. I think in those areas, right, unlike some other areas. So spec is very, very mature. We've been able to take advantage of that by doing like a complete solution on a chip for a macro and small cell. So we've integrated the fully ORAN compliant Lo-Fi with digital front end and with our full radio solution on a single piece of silicon called Samana for the next generation for these applications kind of specifically. So rich feature set. We have advanced algorithms for energy saving, and we have all the security features these networks need as well. Where we've done the full network interoperability testing, right? So we've also built a full reference design. So this is something we can hand to, we're calling the reference design Titan, but we can hand this to any radio vendor and very quickly get them started, get them going, and then they can develop a full feature radio very, very quickly kind of through this. So I think in that area, we're super excited. We're getting a lot of strong validation points from our customers and from operators that this key breakthrough, like single piece of silicon dedicated to this, is really going to decouple macro and small cells from costly and the power hungry kind of FPGAs that a lot of these systems going to have to rely on in the past. So we hope this is really going to drive disruption and is really going to help supercharge the adoption of ORAN, particularly in the macro and in the small cell space.
Yeah, I think ADI has been so good at like looking at the market and integrating the right parts so that people have a platform to quickly get to market and they can customize it, as they see fit. So good job on that part. So let's talk about energy savings in the RAN. Is AI going to be the solution?
Yeah, good question. So so I guess when we talk about energy, first and foremost, energy is a big deal. It always has been. I think we have a number that I think about 1.6% of all global emissions comes from telco networks. So I mean, obviously that's a significant OpEx burden that the operators and the telco providers have to take on. I think on the environmental side, it's an issue too. I mean, obviously there's a lot of focus on that on emissions. So that's there's impacts there. There's also, I think, a lot of secondary impacts when it comes to the design of the systems themselves. So you have to deal with cooling, size, weight, volume. We've even seen some systems with integrated fans and from various vendors, which are very a lot of complexity, a lot of extra weight. So a lot of issues kind of the energy problem creates like a lot of dimensions to the issues that need to be tackled, I guess. So I think in terms of AI, I mean, look, AI is definitely going to have a place in networking and infrastructure. We probably both saw it in Barcelona at MWC. There was AI was everywhere, and a lot of people are looking for places to find it to come in and make a difference and disrupt. I think there are some really obvious cases in management of the network, so dynamic network management and the data flows and optimizing and all that kind of stuff. I think there's really there's some low-hanging fruit there in obvious areas where it's going to be deployed. For energy specifically, I think it's kind of a mixed bag, right? I think for sure there's a lot of innovation we've been doing around energy for 15 years, right, in our radios and in our transceivers. More recently, we've got things like a technique called discontinuous transmission, which we've integrated onto that new platform I mentioned, Samana. So this is the ability in kind of real time to shut down various power consuming blocks inside the radio on silicon when there's low traffic or where there's no traffic. So that's a real game changer. We've embedded it on there. It's a set and forget kind of thing that you can dial in and It'll operate on its own and it'll take care of that at the system level. We've seen as much as 40% energy savings with that. So very meaningful. It's not AI enabled or assisted yet, but it could be in the future. But for now, that's doing a great job. On the other hand, things like the power amplifier or the PA in these systems, right, as you know, is really the big power hog, right? Those things are inherently not very efficient out of the box, and we've been layering in a lot of monitoring and algorithms around PAs to make them more efficient. But there's some areas there where around linearization of the PA that we have used some ML and some AI kind of techniques in the past couple of years to help us kind of break through some barriers, right, and get to sort of even better levels of efficiency that we weren't able to get to before. So there's some examples there where it has been useful, some examples where it hasn't been yet, but it may be. So we're excited about it, and we continue to innovate, on the energy side and the energy challenge in kind of all dimensions, and we'll bring in techniques like AI and ML where we think they're appropriate and where we think they'll make a difference.
Great. Well, thanks, Alan, for your insights into the status and future for 5G technology. To our audience, you can find more videos at videos.microwavejournal.com. Thanks for watching.